What is going on, guys? Sinister here, back with another Smite video, and we are reviewing patch notes for patch 3.19, which is called Terror of the Night. Now, if I sound a little off, it's because I just had my wisdom teeth removed 2 days ago, and I still have stitches in, so I'm trying not to, like, open my mouth too much, and it's just kind of uncomfortable, so I apologize for that. I'm gonna do my best here, but new god coming out. Everyone already knew about it. It's Camazotz, the deadly god of bats. Poor old Pawn had to release it on the last patch notes, but we actually have his abilities now. Everyone was very afraid of the ultimate. It was supposed to be very powerful, similar to Scylla's, but spoiler alert, it's actually kind of underwhelming, his ult. I'm going to jump into him first, but I'm going to say I don't know how I feel about him. Initially, he seems broken with the amount of survivability he has, but then when you take into consideration he has little to no mobility, I don't know. I think he could balance out. I think he's going to be very good in like a casual sense, kind of like Bakasura or Bastet, but I think coming into like ranked and the SPL, people can, focus him too much and stuff like that. So I don't know. We actually have to see how he's going to play in the PTS and everything before it's final. But he does seem like a pretty strong early game jungler as well. So his passive is called Essence Drinker. Now it's kind of like a dual passive. He has built-in 5% life steal, built-in, and 5% extra healing. So if he gets healed by a Chang'e or Afro, whatever, it's 5% more than it originally would be. Also, anytime a god dies, they leave behind a pool of their essence in a spot where they were killed, similar to Neith with her weaves. Only Camazotz can see these little pool of essences, though. No one else on the map can see them. If there's an enemy Camazotz, he'll be able to, though, so keep that in mind. And Camazotz can go over these pools whenever someone dies and drink up their essence and heal mana and health. It restores 2% of your mana and 2% of your health per drink. And if he's out of combat, he drinks faster. So, and it's a very powerful. In the patch notes, they killed 3 Oded bots. They were at half health, stood over them, and they were full health within a couple seconds. It's a very powerful. But at the same time, if you see a Camazotz standing there, still, he's probably drinking, and if you see him healing, what's going down, so you can kind of pick him off a little easier, but it goes in with his survivability, a lot of lifesteal. So his first ability is called Screech. It is a line attack, throws out a projectile, and it passes through enemy minions, and it deals quite a bit of damage, 90, 135, 180, 225, and 270 at respected ranks, plus 70% of your power. If the Screech hits an enemy god, the sound wave echoes off, and you see like 3 or 4 echoes bounce off the enemy god, kind of similar to Hoi's Ricochet, but slower. Camazotz can go to these echoes and get hit by them. He gains vision of the god that was hit by the Screech for the next 15 seconds, and he gains bonus physical power, 20, 25, 30, 35, and 40 for the duration. So if you hit, say, I don't know how that works. If you hit a Loki and he goes invisible, do you have vision of him? Because they didn't clarify that, so that could really come into play. Or like a Izanami, Alquang, something like that. More or less like Alquang or a Surcat, because they're a little more viable coming in like ranked and stuff in SPL. So Screech, if you're going to help laners, that's kind of the ability you're going to want to get. But his most damaging ability is his next one. It's called Vampire Bats. It's another line ability, but it's more narrow and it's shorter. He sends out a swarm of bats, dealing damage, being 100, 180, 260, 340, and 420, plus 130% of your physical power. So built in is a lot of power. His first 2 abilities are 70% and 130% scaling. And it slows them by 30%. So that's his only CC in his kit, though, is a 30% slow on his 2 that is a skill shot because it does not pass through minions. First thing it hits is it deals the damage too, so you got to keep that in mind. It's kind of like Susano's teleport, except you can't teleport to it. And after the bats are done dealing dot damage, it does initial damage and then some dot damage. After the dot damage is done, the bats fly back to you and heal you. So there's another heal. You got built-in lifesteal, you got extra healing, you have an essence pool, and now your ability heals you. Now, you can mark a jungle buff, so not the harpies, not the little minions, the big jungle buff, the one who actually drops the buff. You can send your bats out there, and if you mark them, Camazotz will receive a heal, as well as stackable Vampirism on a buff that lasts 210 seconds. The mark buffs will provide Camazotz with another stack of Vampirism, adding 3% of his lifesteal to his healing. So basically, if you're invading an enemy jungle, you don't want to take their damage buff. You can just send out your bats on the buff, mark it, and you get an extra 3% of lifesteal and 3% of healing to your passive, and it can stack up to 3 times. So if you mark 3 buffs with your passive, you will have 20% healing and lifesteal. But, I mean, again, that's marking them all. And usually when you're invading, you're probably going to take the buff. So, I don't see that being used a lot, but it's something you can do strategically. The cooldown on that is 10 seconds, and the cooldown on his one is 15 seconds. I forgot to mention those. Devour. This is his third ability, and it is a leap. It's a very short distance, though. It's kind of similar to Xing Chen's leap, except you can only leap once. So, I think it's a 40 meter leap, I think, something like that. So you leap a short distance, and it deals damage, being 80, 140, 200, 260, and 320, plus 75% of your physical power. So the scaling, again, on his abilities are crazy. Now, on impact, he heals himself per enemy hit, similar to Kali. So if you hit one god, you're going to heal a scaling of 15, 25, 35, 45, and 55, plus 25% of your physical power. If you hit 3 enemies, triple that. So another heal. He has built-in lifesteal, built-in extra healing, an essence pool he can heal off of, an ability that heals him, and another ability that heals him. The survivability on Camazotz is ridiculous, but he does have some mana issues. His abilities kind of are expensive, and they're not expensive, but they're not cheap. All of his abilities cost the same, actually. There's 60, 65, 70, 75, and 80 for every single ability. His 1, 2, and 3. So there's that. His ultimate is a flat 100. And the cooldown on his leap is 15 seconds. So, again, not a lot of mobility, and his cooldown for his only mobility is 15 seconds. His ultimate, called Bat Out of Hell. I know there's a lot of speculation it was going to be this crazy ult where you could jump on someone and leech their, their health, and it would do dot damage, and it was 800 plus 100. No. What it is basically Freya's ult. You fly up in the air, and you can swoop down 3 times, dealing damage. You are CC immune while you're in the air. It's basically Freya's ult, but with Freya, I think you get like 5 seconds in the air, or 4 shots. With Camazotz, you have 3 seconds in the air. You can swoop down 3 times. That's just how the math works. And it's not like Ratataskers where you can jump, and it resets the cooldown. Jump again, no, you have 3 seconds. So if you wait till the last second to use a leap, you're only going to get 1. So you have I'm going to read it out for you, word for word, you kind of get an idea. While flying, he may swoop forward to deal damage. It is 140, 180, 220, 260, and 300. So it only goes up by 40 each time, so this may not even be worth it to upgrade, honestly. And it only does 20% of your physical power as well, so the scaling on his ult's rather low. He can do it up to 3 times, landing on the 3rd time. So swoop, swoop, and on your last swoop, you are going to land. So it acts as another getaway, similar to Freya's. It looked like he could clear a lot, but what Pawn and Hindu were saying is that it's really not that much, and anyone who has like decent movement speed can kind of keep up with him. So we'll have to see how that works out in PTS, like I said. Hitting more than 1 enemy god on each swoop, though, will increase the damage he does by 10% per god. So if you hit 3 gods on 1 swoop, the last god's going to take 20% extra damage. So it's kind of decent for team fights because you can swoop in, turn around, swoop out, and then swoop out again, and just be back right where you were started while still dealing a lot of damage. So he has some team fight potential with that, but I don't know. Again, not a lot. So that is Camazotz. A lot of survivability, a crazy amount of healing and lifesteal. No mobility, though. So it's one of those gods, like I said, we're going to have to see how he actually plays out because I'm not quite sure. Getting into the skins, there are a lot of new skins. Agni. Agni is the next one on the Odyssey. It is called Gemini. It's similar to Infinity Wave Habois. He's very like space and celestial, and it's just very cool looking. The effects on it are great, and we will play a little sample of the voice pack here. Maybe. Alright, well, the voice pack doesn't want to work, but take my word for it, it's pretty cool. Neith also gets a new skin, and I think this is either a reward. No, this is a part of the Odyssey as well. It is Scarlet Dangerfield Neath. Is there a voice pack to this one? No, their voice packs are not working. Scarlet Dangerfield Neath. Similar to the Agent Apollo, similar to the Crimson Ops, Bastet, all those. She's a Renegade Awilix. It'd be cool to run like a siege team with those. She's got the black suit on, she talks with the accent, and she has like this rifle as her gun. I will post a link in the description as well to the patch notes so you can actually see the skins for yourself, and hopefully the voice packs will be working by then. So Scarlet Dangerfield Neath and Gemini Agni are the two coming in the Odyssey, and Celestial Isis as well. Very cool. It's Isis with a very paladin type look to her. Think of like your typical like female paladin. Very, very cool. Her wings are crazy. Voice packs not work for that one either. So voice packs are down. But Celestial Isis, very cool looking. Next skin, Plague Bearer Izanami. Basically think of your typical like plague doctors from back in the day. That's Izanami. It's a very cool skin. Kind of low-key-esque though, if I'd say so myself. But very cool skin. Wolfman Fenrir. Just as it sounds, think of your typical movie werewolf. He's got a ripped shirt, ripped jeans, and his voice pack, he acknowledges that he was once a human. So, it's kind of cool. And this one I'm excited about. Feline Fashion Awilix. She has no clothes on. It's kind of like what they were describing is all the females who throw an outfit together at the last minute of Halloween who kind of dress very scandalous. So, that's kind of what it is. She rides on a tiger, and the effects are changed to represent that. She has kind of a tiger pattern on her, and pretty cool. So Fashion Feline Awilix, that is just a regular skin. The Wolfman Fenrir and Plague Bearer Izanami, I'm pretty sure are rewards, and the Celestial Isis, Scarlet Dangerfield, and Gemini Agni, I think, are part of the Odyssey. I'm not quite sure, but I know all of those have to do, and then Awilix is just a regular skin, I'm pretty sure. Maybe Wolfman Fenrir as well, because they have to deal with Halloween. I'm not quite sure. We'll have to see. It doesn't specify that here. Neath gets updated mastery skins, so no more fully diamond out Neath. And Izanami gets her mastery skins. So there's that. Achievements for Zonqui, Kali, and Kabrakan, as well as Naja gets fixed. Okay, so yeah, here's the Odyssey. New content being added. There's Gemini Agni, Scarlet Dangerfield Neath, Celestial Isis, and Plague Bearer Izanami. So those are part of the Odyssey. The Fenrir and the Awilix are not. Okay, clarify that. Halloween Arena, decorated arena to set the mood for Halloween. You get a scary potion, makes a return from last year with a brand new formula, so you can drink that and see where that leads you. Item changes. First, we're going to start with Gem of Isolation. It increases its magical power from 70 to 90. Well, that's the only buff that it does. Ritual Dagger reduces the cost from 2,000 to 1,850, and it reduces its attack speed from 20% to 10%. They made Ritual Dagger more of a support item, gives you that health, gives you that relic buff, so by doing that, they reduce the attack speed and reduce the cost, because supports generally are a little more gold hungry. So, you can see that still on like Erlang Shens and stuff like that, with the attack speed, but it's going to be more of a support item now than it was before. Runeforged Hammer gets an interesting change. Its cost is reduced from 2,400 to 2,000. Its power goes down from 40 to 30, but the aura of its passive goes from 10% to 15%. So overall it's a buff. Its power isn't as strong, but it gets a cost reduction and it gets an aura increased. Tower Shield, which is the, I believe, tier 2 item of like Void Shield and Shifter Shield, gets a protection increase from 10 to 20. Very simple, but it didn't do much as a tier 2 item, so now it helps people who are building into that to survive a little longer. That is it for the items, not a lot, and there's not a lot of god changes either. This is mainly a skin patch as well as the new god, but there are a few god changes. Shock gets some pretty interesting buffs actually. Torrent. Shock can now use this ability when he's crippled, but only if his axe is not deployed. So if you're crippled, you can't throw your axe out and teleport to it. But if you're crippled, you can still use Torrent and do damage to those who are around you. Stormcall, his ultimate. Before, you would try to combo it with his axe. You throw your axe out and then use your ult. But what that would do is it wouldn't let you to really combo and set yourself up. You couldn't throw your axe, teleport to it and then use your ult, because the effect, they'd already be used from the teleport. So what they did is they removed the bonus damage that Stormcall would get when your axe was out. So you can't throw your axe. You can throw your axe and use your ult, but it's not going to give you additional damage. But they increased the base damage of your Stormcall. So it went from 200 to 400, now it's 250 to 450. And it increases the scaling from 100% to 120%. So ultimately, they kind of buffed Shock overall. You don't get bonus damage when your axe is out and you cast your ult. You just get bonus damage on your ult. So now you can throw your axe, teleport, and ult in, and combo it up real well. So according to Pond, Shock was actually doing very well in test plays. You may see some Shock gameplay. I like the buffs they gave to him. He was one of the first gods I used along with Cupid, who got a buff last patch, so I liked it. Medusa gets mana recost on her acid spray. It goes from 70 to 90, which is now 60 to 80. And Lacerate reduced from 85 at all ranks to 70 at all ranks. Scylla gets a stupid buff. She can now deploy Sentinel while she's crippled, but she can't teleport to it. So if you're crippled, you can throw out Sentinel and anticipate, and then just spam it again. And that way, as soon as your cripple is done, you can teleport right to it. Crush gets a buff. Man. They're trying to make her early game better, and I understand that. With Power Pot gone now, at least until level 10. No more early game Power Pot. But now she's going to hit harder than ever late game. The mana cost is increased from 60 to 80 to 70 to 90, so 10 at all ranks. But the damage is increased by 90, 145, 200, 255, and 310. Now goes to 90, 150, 210, 270, and 330. So, yeah, a lot of more late game damage. But that's not it. The scaling goes from 80% to 100%. So, you know before when you would get crippled and crushed by Scylla and it would like damn near kill you? Now it's going to kill you. So, yeah, have fun with that. Scylla late game is OP. And OP, and then now OP. Well, that's just going to be ridiculous. Stormkata. Susano gets nerfed to hell and back. We can actually tweet it out. Why don't you just remove him from the game? Stormkata increases per cast time for the first slash from 0.1 seconds to 4 seconds. Its damage from the first and second attack are also reduced from 50, 90, 125, 160, 195 to 40, 70, 100, 130, and 160. However, the third attack on Stormkata, which is his dash, now deals damage. It's 20, 35, 50, 65, 80, plus 33% of your physical power, and the scaling is reduced from 80% to 65%. So remember, Stormkata started off on 90% scaling. It's now down to 65% after a couple nerfs. Basically what they're doing is before, Susano could teleport in, 1-1, dash away, and there's like 3/4 your health gone. Now if you want to get the full damage off of Stormkata, you have to 1-1 and then dash through them. So you can't dash away to be safe. If you want to get the full damage off Stormkata, you have to actually dash through the enemy, which limits your escaping potential with Susano. His ultimate also sees a nerf. You can no longer apply a knock-up on the Typhoon unless it's fully charged. So before, you could blink in or teleport in, pop your ultimate, cast it right away, knock him up, and just set up big combos. It's not going to do that anymore. It's still going to do damage, but it will only knock up the enemy if it's fully charged. And they wanted to... I understand it, but it hinders a lot of Susano players because that's their kit. That's that kill potential. Knock them up and just finish them. Now you have to wait for them to suck them in. They can beads it and run away, so... a big nerf to Susano there. Weekend is very upset about it from the tweet that I saw. Scylla gets a pretty huge buff in my opinion. Shock gets a huge buff as well. So that is going to wrap up these patch notes, guys. As always, the patch notes will be in the description if you want to read them for yourself, and hopefully the voice packs are actually working. You can see the pictures for all the skins. There's a lot of new skins and mastery updates and masteries themselves. And of course you can see Camazotz, which should be in the thumbnail. Social media links are in the description as well, including Twitch, in which I try to stream on very often. Make sure you subscribe for more videos like this. I try to do a video on every single patch notes, so subscribe to see those. Drop a like if you would, and until next time, guys, thank you so much for the support, and I'll see you again soon.